Governance in Odisha has been characterized by a 5T framework: technology and leveraging it, transparency in governance, teamwork from the various stakeholders involved, and meeting targets in a time-bound manner, thereby leading to transformation. To elaborate this further, we have a group of speakers to discuss and deliberate on digital transformation in Odisha, next-gen technologies transforming governance. I would like to invite Arpit Gupta, Assistant Editor, ETGovernment, to moderate the discussion. Welcome, Arpit. Please take the discussion ahead.
Dear viewers and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the panel discussion, Digital Transformation in Odisha, Next-Gen Technologies Transforming Governance, a part of Transforming Odisha Conclave 2022. On behalf of ETGovernment, the Economic Times, I, Arpit Gupta, welcome our esteemed panelists. Odisha is one of the fastest growing states of India. It is the heartland of India's mineral deposits. Odisha has recently emerged as the educational hub of East India and houses premier institutes such as IIT, IIM, National Institute of Science, Education and Research, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, IIIT, Xavier Institute of Management, Institute of Life Sciences, Institute of Minerals and Materials Technology, etc. The capital city of Odisha, Bhubaneswar, is among the most business-friendly destinations. It has been ranked by the World Bank as the third best city in India to do business. It was also ranked as #1 in the Smart City Challenge from among 97 cities across India by the Ministry of Urban Development. Today in this panel discussion, we will hear from the who's who of government how next-gen technologies are transforming governance in Odisha and what is the future roadmap of digital transformation in the state. Ladies and gentlemen, to lead the panel, I am joined by eminent leaders. Please welcome Mr. Asit Tripathy, Principal Advisor to Chief Minister of Odisha and Chairman, Western Odisha Development Council. Welcome, Mr. Tripathy.
Thank you.
I also welcome Mr. C.J. Venugopal, Additional Chief Secretary and Chief Administrator, KBK Region, Government of Odisha and Chief Resident Commissioner, New Delhi. Welcome, Mr. Venugopal. I also welcome Mrs. Ranjana Chopra, Principal Secretary, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MS&ME Department, ST and SC Development, Minorities and Backward Classes Welfare Department, Government of Odisha. Welcome, Ms. Chopra.
Thank you.
I also welcome Mr. Hemant Sharma, Principal Secretary, Industries Department, Skill Development and Technical Education Department, and also Chairman, EPCOL and Chairman, ITCO, Government of Odisha. Welcome, Mr. Sharma.
Namaskar.
Welcome all of you, and let me begin the session by inviting our session chair, Mr. Asit Tripathi, for his opening remarks on the future roadmap of digital transformation in the state. Over to you, Mr. Tripathi.
Thank you very much and good evening. Odisha is a forward-looking state. In the last 2 decades, under the leadership of Honorable Sri Naveen Patnaik, our Chief Minister, we have made very, very rapid strides in all aspects of governance and development. Today, our economic indices have improved dramatically. We are considered as one of those fastest growing states. And indeed, in the last 5 years, on many occasions, we have attracted the highest investment in industries in the state. Our agriculture has consistently registered more than the national average growth rate. And today, we are one of the biggest producers of paddy in the country. We are also a state which is very rich in natural resources, including fisheries, animal husbandry, wherein also we are making big progress. But the most dramatic aspect of our state administration is the adoption of technology in governance. As you know, all the state governments deliver a whole host of services to the citizens. And not only the citizens, but various other stakeholders. For example, we just mentioned about industry and agriculture. In these 2 areas, our stakeholders are people who invest in large industries, small and medium industries, micro industries, entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs, then your startups. In agriculture, we have all the other stakeholders like landholders, agriculturists, and the other people who have interest in agriculture. So we engage them in various ways, and we have adopted technology platform for that. Typically, the e-governance model, which began about, I think about 2.5, 3 decades in the country, relied on basically business process re-engineering of our old method of working, and then translating them into digital medium and delivering service through digital platforms like computers, laptops, iPads, today mobile. What in Odisha we have done is that we have entirely done away with the old system of working. Our platforms, I can give you some examples as I just go on, have now become super efficient delivery platform for services. We use advanced technology. I would like to give one example of an excellent single window mechanism that we have evolved, which is called Go Swift. And that is one single window, one-stop shop for potential investors who are looking to invest in Orissa, looking for opportunities, looking to get clearances from various departments. This is one platform in which they have to register. Then the various stakeholders, of course, coordinated by the industry department, they handle the entire process. This particular application has consistently backed the first prize or the second prize in the country, judged by Government of India organizations such as Niti Aayog and DPIIT, etc. We have a large, Orissa practically has 30 to 40% of mineral resources in the country. And there are so many environmental laws which regulate that particular area. And about 1.5 decades ago, we are confronted with this problem of large-scale mining beyond the mining area. Also, movement of large minerals which were supposed to be accounted for. We evolved a IT platform which was called 3IMS, which in real time through GPS about 1.5 years ago, which was quite revolutionary, calculated the volume of excavation and transportation and monitored all the transport up to the ports, which totally eliminated, all kinds of mischief and corruption. There are many, many, many examples. In fact, in a very short introduction, I cannot do justice, but my colleagues are here. You have luckily chosen a panel. Principal Secretary Industries, Mr. Hemant Sharma. He is indeed somebody who is working in this area. Our Principal Secretary MS&ME, which I consider is one of the most important department in the government, because this is the largest employment giver department. They are also working in various aspects of technology. Venugopal is, of course, my colleague. He is one of the most senior officers, and he handles one very sensitive charge. That is the development of our KBK region, the undivided districts of Koraput, Bolangir, and Kalahandi, which used to be the most backward area of the state, are under a special administration. He heads the administration. So all of them, when they speak, they will probably highlight. But going forward, we are trying to use the advanced technology, the state-of-the-art technology like blockchain, which we are already using in our iPass system of paddy procurement. We are using a lot of predictive models, analytical tools for our COVID management we did. We are using drones for our, mapping of resources. We are using sensors for traffic management. We are using augmented virtual reality for our tourism potentials for, putting it across to the entire world. We are using biometrics across the offices. We are using very advanced file system in all our offices, to the extent that most of our offices today have no papers. We are using a lot of these artificial intelligence and machine learning in many of our software tools to do predictive analysis and automated decision making. We also monitor the weights of children, as you know, in the nurseries and the ICDS centers. And then we have the school monitoring system. So we have some kind of forecast about people who is likely to drop out. Currently, I'll just end by saying that we are integrating all our databases into one registry, and that is in the works. The World Bank is collaborating with us. It will be a social register of everybody who's in any way connected to the government, and then there will be keywords, key thing which like Aadhaar or name will be the basis. Then we will have a register of people who have anything to do with government. So in which we will have total transparency. Number two, we will eliminate a lot of fraudulent claim of government assistance by eliminating. We have done that successfully in one of our pioneering programs called Kalia, which was a financial transfer to small and marginal farmers and landless laborers. So I will end here. We are adopting technology in the governance in a way that is probably unparalleled in the entire country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Tripathi. And you talked about integration of data. Data is the new oil, it is said. And definitely when we are integrating data of one department to the other department, it is going to help in a big way in decision making and also transforming the governance. Taking this to our next speaker, I will request Mr. CJ Venugopal for his quick views on the topic digital transformation in Odisha. Over to you, Mr. Venugopal.
Thank you very much, Arpit, and distinguished guests and my colleagues and my guru and mentor, Asit sir, and the representatives from the ET and others who are here. I would first like to congratulate and extend my sincere thanks to Economic Times for supporting this Transforming Orissa conclave. And to speak after my guru and mentor is very difficult because Asit sir has more or less covered most of the topics, but without repeating what he has said. And I would like to cover a few other topics which Odisha has done great work, and I'm sure the others would add to this. Digitization of the land records has been one of the biggest achievements in our state, and that has made the life simpler for the citizens in their day-to-day living. And in fact, the land records, once they're sanitized and cleared for titles, it enables all schemes of the government, whether it's the state government, central government, all schemes to run on those sanitized data, which you were just mentioning. And this digitization of land records, where we have today 5 crore land records. Each plot in the state has been mapped, and there are 5 crore records, and all of them have been mapped for the last 30 years. And they've all been, the flow of title has been integrated. Today, because of this digitization of the land records that has taken place, all the schemes under whichever department that we're implementing, they're able to utilize this database that has been created. In addition to this, the registration of the land, which every common man utilizes it on a day-to-day basis, whether it is to buy, sell, or to mortgage, to lease, whatever. And even for industry or for mining, any purpose, land is a basic record. And the registration of the land today is made available. The information is available online. And of course, the registration itself has to be done physically at the registration office. But today, 5 crore land records, each with a unique number, having their own benchmark value, has been uploaded on real-time basis. It's the biggest achievement that the state has achieved. And today, any citizen from any part of the world, they can get their details of the land records, of what is the benchmark value, what is the size, what is the number. Tehsil wise, district wise, you can get the details. And what is the stamp value, what is the registration rate that the government has defined. And there's also a registration and the stamp duty calculator also. So this is an enabler which digital transformation has happened. And because of which the citizens are able to do hassle-free and harassment-free registration of land. And this enables not only the ease of doing business for whether it's industry, mining, or even for common man and citizens doing their day-to-day work of getting their lands buy, sell, or lease, or loan, or mortgage, collateral, whatever it is. In addition to this, the other major initiative which the state government has done and has found a lot of traction is the online services that have been provided under the single platform. With the common payment gateway, almost 300 plus services are able to be provided, where not only information, services, and so many other transactions, including payments of various payments that are need to be paid to the government, could be done on this Odisha One platform with a common payment gateway. I think is a huge initiative, and it's going to be a transformational initiative, having a huge benefit to the citizens. Having worked in Navapada district, Navapada subdivision long time back, and again being the chief administrator of that area, the narrative in the KBK area is totally changed. What it was 30 years back and what it is today. It used to be one of the most backward districts or subdivision of the state that time. Today, the narrative of the state is totally changed. It is now considered to be the rice bowl of the country, not just of the state, but of the country. So you can imagine the transformation that has happened. And it's all because of the constant and consistent development policies of the state government. And agriculture today is one of the fastest growing sector in the state. So also industry and mining, my colleagues will be talking of that sector. And these initiatives are creating a huge demand for the services, and these digital transformation that we have initiated by way of online services and others is making a big impact. And I am for one who firmly believes that technology would be a great force multiplier to meet the expectations of the people as we go by. And we have been successfully doing it. And big data is one of the, as you rightly mentioned, big data is one of the key tools to it. And we've been successfully using this, mining this data for predictive analysis, for better decision making. This is definitely helped us in a much better manner, in a more, I would say, very targeted manner in providing services to our citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Venugopal. Now I will go to Mrs. Ranjana Chopra for her remarks on the subject digital transformation in Odisha. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for having me on the panel. The Orissa narrative of development is a very exciting narrative, and I personally consider it as an honor and privilege to be a part of this narrative. As has been shared by Principal Advisor to CM and our KBK Administrator, the story is very exciting. And it is also exciting not only for the reason that we have been able to successfully leverage technology to improve governance. Now the technology that is being leveraged is actually finding no boundaries. So we have been able to transcend the geographical boundaries. So you will see that not only the coastal, more developed areas, but the tribal areas are also taking advantage of the technology that has been initiated, the technology revolution that has been initiated. And similarly, all across the population communities. So whether it is the student, or it is an industrialist, or is it a small micro entrepreneur, we have been able to make sure that there is a platform where multiple stakeholders are able to access and gain benefits. The framework that we are working on is the 5T framework, in which technology plays a very important role. And the other components of this framework, this governance framework, being time, team, transparency, and all this together with technology that is leading to the transformation that we are seeing around. Now, many examples have been given to show as to how we are leveraging technology. I'd like to just share a couple of examples from the social sector. Now, a school, for instance, Orissa has about 60,000 schools. There are about 60 lakh school children who are partaking midday meal. Now, midday meal duplication, as Tripathy sir was also mentioning, that Kalia has been able to remove a lot of redundant and shadow accounts. Similarly, in midday meal, it was a very difficult governance challenge for us to implement it successfully, to make sure that children are having it and there is no duplication. As far as in 2016, a midday meal app was developed by which everything is monitored on a daily basis. So every day one is able to see as to how many children have taken the midday meal, how many children are absent, what is the reason, how many headmasters and teachers and cook-cum attendants are also present in a particular school on that particular day. So by this, we are finding that it is not only improving the leakages, it is also ensuring that the benefit is reaching the target audience in a very streamlined and focused manner. The second example, which KBK administrator was sharing, I'd just like to add to it that along with the land reforms that have happened, Orissa, we are also priding ourselves with the advancement and progress we have made on distribution of Forest Right Act pattas. And now this process has also been digitized. So a common platform has been created on which a tribal living anywhere in the state is able to apply online for an FRA patta, and on basis of that FRA patta, then the revenue department is able to give him his entitled land and also make the correction in the ROR. So this is itself a very empowering step. And in this process, what is happening is that the intermediaries have been removed and the tribal communities are also feeling very, very empowered. Now, the database, you have already acknowledged that having a strong database, a unified database has its own merit. In sharing another example with you, we also are a land of 13 primitive tribal communities, which are defined as PVTGs, and there are about 60,000 of them. So the government took a decision that these are 60,000 households, and we must try to saturate them with the amenities and the benefits that the government is giving. So immediately after we were able to get the Aadhaar number and other details of these 60,000 households, we were able to share this database with Civil Supplies Corporation, where they were able to see how many of them have a ration card. So those PVTG households, the primitive tribal households who were left out of the ration card scope were included. We were able to compare it with the RBSK, whether they have got the benefits under health, and we have also now been able to compare it with the Kalia database. So the entire structure is very, very strong, and the IT department has been able to give a lot of support to all the departments to ensure that we have been able to experiment with technology in a manner that has a far-reaching impact. And this is visible in social sector. It is also visible in industry, and the silent revolution, which in the process is taking place in education and in health, is also tremendously because of the reason of this reach of technology, because of which we have been able to get over the communication challenges and the geographical challenges. Now, giving you a brief snapshot of the MSME sector in Orissa, as sir was mentioning, MSME sector is, there are about 19 lakh MSME units employing about 33 lakh people in Orissa, out of which 8 lakh are women. So this MSME sector also, one would find that each micro small enterprise today, they are moving from their indigenous grassroots way of processing and gradually adopting technology and scaling up their production and improving their processes. And it is because of these reasons today, in fact, only in the morning, I was told that in Pradhan Mantri Employment Guarantee Program, Orissa has really been able to do tremendously well, where and it is all because of this access to technology that our micro and small entrepreneurs have today.
Thank you. And last but not the least, now I will go to Mr. Hemant Sharma. Can you briefly share your thoughts on the topic digital transformation in Odisha? Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me to this interesting panel on one of the most topical issues which government of Odisha has implemented in the last few years, digitalization in governance. So I would be speaking about the industries sphere. Odisha has been at the forefront of industrial development over the last 2 decades, riding on its rich endowment of natural resources. We have vast natural resources. It is said that every mineral known to mankind is mined in Odisha. So we have 25% of India's iron ore, 33% of India's coal, 52% of India's bauxite, and almost 92% of India's chrome ore reserves, not to talk of monazite, ilmenite, and other, even the rare earth metals, which are required for new age industries like advanced cell chemistry batteries and space vehicles and electric vehicles. We have 11% of India's water resources, and because of the significant value addition policies which the state government has professed in the last 2 decades, today Odisha accounts for not only a very large complex of mining and resource-based industry, but one of the largest producers of primary metals in the country. So we are not only the largest producer of iron ore, we are also the largest producer of steel in the country, and the kind of investments which have happened in the mining, metallurgy, food processing, chemicals, petrochemicals, IT and ITS industries have helped us set up a very large complex of industrial development in the state. So much so that in the last 3 years, Orissa has been able to attract investments of more than rupees 4 lakh crore in the country, which is the highest amongst all the states in the country. In the financial year 2021, Orissa, in fact, surpassed even Maharashtra in attracting investments, and we were at the forefront of attracting investments into the country across diverse sectors. Now, when investors come to Orissa, they are looking forward to best-in-class industrial facilitation services, which obviously would not have been possible if we would not have deployed technology to serve our large investor base. And this we have done, as Principal Advisor to CM also explained. This we were able to do by launching a single window facilitation mechanism called Go Swift about 3 years ago. And we have been able to reduce the time taken to process our investment applications from about 320 days in the past to about 19 days now on an average. And more than 53 approvals across 18 government departments are now available through our single window system. Our single window system was adjudged as the best single window system in the country by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India last year, and we were among the first states to join the national single window system recently, and now investors can come through our single window system and even access the central government related clearances from let's say Ministry of Forest and Environment, or even customs and other excise related clearances. Now this would not have been possible if technology would not have been the driver of governance in Orissa. This is not only ease of doing business, it is also ease of living, whether it is a micro entrepreneur or a large industrial enterprise. Inspections, clearances, permits is something which all of them had to face. Through our system, there is something which we are really proud of, is called Go Smile, through which combined inspections take place. Which means that if a micro enterprise or even a large industry is required to face a dozen inspections throughout the year, all these inspections can be combined. A randomized set of inspections and inspectors are generated, and the whole process is seamless. It is online and hassle-free. The reports are available within 24 hours to the industry. So this is just one example of how transformative this digital inputs in governance has been. On the skill development and technical education front also, we have used technology as one of the major tools for delivering educational content. All our ITIs, polytechnics, and government engineering colleges are connected through a SAMS platform, where whether it is the student database management, their admissions, their examinations, their certificates, their degrees, or their employment orientation is all delivered through digital content and through digital means. We have recently set up a World Skills Center where we have showcased the most important and most modern skills which are required by Industry 4.0. And this is something which we are very proud of. And this has been done by the state government as the ultimate in skill development on a modern digital technology driven platform. So overall, technology has been used not only to touch the citizens at the grassroots level for citizen-centric services, as my senior colleagues explained, but also for delivering high-end services to value investors, to people who come from very developed economies and are looking forward to such seamless services even in India.
Mr. Venugopal, you are responsible for effective monitoring and supervising the implementation of various government schemes and programs. How is the government of Odisha ensuring better delivery of services? And what impact has the government of Odisha made in governance with the adoption of digital technologies? Over to you.
I think we've been adopting digital technologies for many years now. And in the digital technologies, it's not one initiative, but multiple initiatives by various departments, and each addressing a particular sector, and the entire value chain analysis has been done, and then they are showing results. So I think the incremental approach of every department and the government as a whole, it is having a tremendous impact. I would like to use the next generation technologies in the governance, because that gives you a better reach, better understanding, and the reach also can be faster and better, so that we can telescope the development. The governance, as I said, what it used to be 30 years back when we were there in the as sub-collectors, and what it is today, the narrative has changed. Governance, is a relay race, and governance is a never-ending relay race. So it's a continuously, it improves and improves, and it's constant effort at every one of us who are participating in the governance to improve, so that the citizens get better services, better than what it used to get in the past. We also need to understand that the expectations of the citizens and the pressure on the delivery system is much, much higher than what it was in the past. So technology is the enabler which we will be able to meet those expectations. That is why a lot of initiatives in the digital transformation is taking place. And we also have this Center of Excellence, which we have now started in the STPI, to work on how new gender technologies like AI, ML, drone, big data, so many other initiatives that we are talking of, how each of the blockchain, all of this can be utilized for providing better services to citizens. And when we are wanting to utilize this for the citizens, it is necessary that we need to understand what exactly is the citizens' requirement. And each sector's requirement would be different, and each initiative in that sector would be different. And we also need to understand what is the adaptation level of the citizens, so that the technology can be effectively utilized to have a better impact. Now, we have been utilizing the digital initiative as a major tool where you prepare the society for it's a knowledge-based transformation where citizens also participate in whatever we are doing, so that we give good governance to the citizens for whom the government is meant for. And the governments at the different levels have been working with a vision where the citizens not only get these services that is their legitimately due, but also in a more transparent manner. That is why our Honorable Chief Minister has started the 5T program, where the emphasis is on how we can have a transparent government, and all the officers in the government work as a team, and because of which you give timely the results, and using technology as an enabler, and so that there is a transformational effect in the society. That's the whole impact of the 5T, which our Honorable CM has been emphasizing on, and has been, as my colleagues were mentioning. Now, in this, the next gen technologies is going to play a major role, and in that it could be a 5G, it could be AI, it could be an ML, and it could be a different what AR, VR that we've been talking of. So all these are something which is a requirement. Now, because of this technology, what it is going to do is it's going to play a crucial role in the government, whether it is for planning, or whether it's for decision making, or even for I would say accelerating the development process itself, or analyzing deployment of resources, whether it's financial resources or manpower resources, analyzing the deployment of resources, even problem solving of any issue that comes up in the governance of problem solving. Technology could be a great enabler. Even discovering new trends or drawing out correlations based on the technology, because today we have huge data available with us, and with that we are able to now we can also discover new trends, and this drawing of correlations also helps us in better decision making. Now this data percolates from multiple sources, and there has to be a single source of truth, and this needs to be properly sanitized so that it helps in better decision making. That's the whole idea of having it. And in this, the public-private partnership would be very acceptable and a very sustainable model, wherein a lot of work which are regular in nature, which should be outsourced to the other providers who can do this. With this sharing of information and innovative ideas, including the success stories, I think will have a very positive impact on the society, where people would like to replicate the success stories. In the society, it's always better that the success stories are documented, replicated, and also multiplied, because it has a huge percolation effect. And technology can play a huge role in this, where information and innovative ideas can be shared, and also providing access to the information itself, and also the various services that the government provides. The access to this itself to the citizens in the most interior parts using technology itself, we can leverage the power of technology to provide better services. And technology, we can also use it for increasing the citizens' engagement, and also it's a tool for dialogue, where we can generate ideas from the citizens, which is several other initiatives have been done in this regard. We could also, based on that, we could also do some improvements in the livelihood, change the processes of how the governance happens, and institutionalize the transformative effect, so that it is not only sustainable, but it is also scalable. So these are a few things which the technology has a huge role to play. So also the analysis of the policy itself, and what is the feedback from the citizens, and how it can improve. These are all tools which, through an innovative knowledge sharing with the stakeholders, we can improve the policy making, the impact of action plans that the government makes. We could make it more sustainable and more outcome driven, and ultimately the government-citizen relationship has to be more participative in nature, and the citizens have to get the benefit of the entire effort that we are doing. So the ease of doing business is one, but ease of living of the citizens would be a much more bigger priority for the government, and technology has been definitely helped us in a big way in this.
Right. Using technology is no more option now. It is essential, not only for, as you said, ease of doing business, but also ease of living, as well as Mr. Hemant Sharma was highlighting in his previous comments. Now I'll go to Ranjana Chopra, ma'am. Ma'am, in the Odisha's recent budget for financial year for 22 and 23, a total allocation of 1,635 crore rupees is proposed for setting up world-class infrastructure and incentivizing the industries, MSMEs, and startups. You just talked about the social sector. How is the MSME department promoting entrepreneurship and private sector investment to transform the lives of citizens? Over to you.
Yeah, Arpit, I think this question can be best understood in case we unpack this into 3 or 4 perspectives. The first perspective, which is very important, is the policy. So when we look at the policy, we find that Orissa has one of the most progressive policies, whether it is the industrial policy, MSME policy, food processing, IT services. In fact, all our concerned departments, tourism, agri, export promotion. So we have a very facilitative policy environment and the policy framework, which is giving its citizens and the entrepreneurs the best of the incentives, and is comparative, and it is comparable to any of the most progressive policies in the country. So this is one factor which we feel is definitely going in our favor, and that is the reason we have been able to attract large-scale investments as well, and our MSME sector also seems to be doing well. The second important segment that we need to look this into is the infrastructure. As far as infrastructure is concerned, we already boast of about 100 odd industrial parks. We have already set up 2 mega food parks. We are in the process of setting up towers, which will give not only the front office facilities, but also plug and play facilities to both medium, small and micro entrepreneurs, as well as some kind of an office space or front office space to large industry, not only in Bhubaneswar, but also in other districts to promote regional development like Jinkanal, Jharsuguda, Balasore, in these districts as well. As far as startup is concerned, we have come up with a very state-of-art incubation center called OHub, in which we have created a lot of space where we are now encouraging to onboard the startups, and also to create facilitative environment where the startups can get all kinds of assistance, whether it is legal, technological, or marketing related, financial, etc. So, and in fact, the government at this point of time is also committed to rejuvenating and also creating specific MSME parks as well. So we have been given the mandate of setting up MSME parks in all the districts, out of which 10 MSME parks are already under development, and the balance 20 will be taken in the next coming 2 years' time, and the government is committed towards fulfilling them. The third important pillar is financing, and as you have mentioned, we have seen an exponential growth in the total allocation of the budget for the MSME sector. And in fact, as far as the startups also are concerned, there is a robustness and a lot of optimism within the government when we look at the startup ecosystem, and we are very, very motivated to provide them a very good platform and also help them with financing. We have recently notified fund of fund schemes where we are not only committing money from Orissa government side, but also are committed to leverage and raise funds from VCs. And the fourth and most important segment is HR. None of this would be possible in case within the department, the staff and the officers who are going to implement these reforms and these progressive initiatives do not have a strong capacity themselves. So we are also building the capacity. We are in talk with both IIM Sambalpur and Xavier's Institute Bhubaneswar to develop customized modules for our extension officers, industrial promotion officers, as well as our cutting edge officers who are manning the DICs in the districts. So if we look at all this, I think that it looks like a very bright picture, and we are committed to the cause of MSME development. And in the coming 2 years, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of positive changes.
Thank you, ma'am. You just talk about how the government of Odisha is strengthening the MSME ecosystem of the state. It is pertinent to mention here that SIDBI has sanctioned a support of 837 crore rupees to the government of Odisha for the development of 18 MSME infrastructure projects to be implemented by Odisha Industrial Infrastructure Development Corporation, that is IDCO. So let me go to IDCO chairman and also the principal secretary of industries, Mr. Hemant Sharma. Sir, Odisha is one of the most advantageous state in terms of ease of doing business. Everyone talked about here. You also mentioned how you are pioneer in the single window clearance system. What are the initiatives undertaken by the industries department to extend all support and facilitation to the industries and investors? Over to you.
As I mentioned, at the forefront, we have our single window system, which is an end-to-end solution, which starts from the information available about the major raw materials available, land parcels available, industrial states, etc., and all the clearances, etc., which are required for a particular sector, followed by the pre-commissioning approvals for building plans, for pollution control, for licenses for factories, boilers, labor licenses, then post-commissioning inspections, approvals are required for successful operation of the plant. In fact, now we have also introduced an incentive wizard in the single window where the post-commissioning incentives like capital investment subsidy, interest subvention, GST reimbursement, etc., can also be availed through the single window. During the life cycle of an industry post-commissioning, the combined inspection framework enables not only combined and randomized inspections, but also delivery of reports through digital means. One very important feature of digital governance in the state, including in the industrial front, is the feedback collection mechanism for government services. So through an initiative called Mo Sarkar, anyone who comes to our government offices, including industries department offices, their details are logged into our system, and through a randomized mechanism, calls are made starting from the Honorable Chief Minister up to the junior and middle level officers regularly to anybody who accesses government services either physically or through digital means, and a feedback is collected about their experience. And then actionable reports are generated so as to fine tune our offerings. So overall, this single window system is quite helpful. You very rightly mentioned about a major initiative where we are trying to upgrade the infrastructure available in 18 of our major industrial estates, which are primarily meant for micro, small, and medium enterprises to a SIDBI assistance. And I'm really happy to claim that Odisha is the first state in the country to have actively availed such large-scale assistance under the SIDBI Cluster Development Program. And even for other industrial estates also, we are now developing detailed project reports to access more and more funds. These funds will actually go for improving the infrastructure, whether it is drainage, common effluent treatment, waste management, hazardous waste disposal, and other facilities which are commonly required in such industrial estates.
Right, and not only in adoption of technologies, but as you also mentioned, there are a lot of areas where Odisha is the front runner states in the country. So let me also understand what is the way forward for digital transformation in Odisha. I'll quickly go to Mr. CJ Venugopal. Sir, what are the opportunities for public-private partnership in next-gen technologies? And what are your immediate priorities for government of Odisha these days?
See, as I said earlier, technology is a great force multiplier, and it can be used in almost all sectors. The NHI has used the drone along with LiDAR technology for monitoring of the progress of the roads, and even our state government also, the Works Department, has used LiDAR technology for health monitoring of the roads and bridges. So a drone-mounted LiDAR technology is something of the future, which can be used for monitoring of the roads, which can be used for health monitoring of the roads, bridges. It can be used for disaster management, and there are huge opportunities in that sector where the public-private partnership can come together and work. So also in the providing of the record of rights, which we were discussing, the digitization of land records has taken place. And as we speak, we've already done 30 years, and we are going 10 years back. There's a huge participation of the private sector that can come up in this, but it's going to open up huge database. And big data, as I said, is going to be the future. And we need to have the volume, the velocity, and the veracity of the data needs to be properly synchronized, so that the single source of truth is something which everybody has confidence on, and is something which can be utilized to build all programs on. So this is something, data is not considered to be static anymore. It's more dynamic, and how it can be used for providing better services. So this is something where all governments can work in a very big manner. AI and IoT in agriculture is going to be a big game changer. When I say IoT and AI, it's going to be agriculture, horticulture, fisheries, even animal husbandry, all these livelihood sectors, it's going to be a game changer. Whether it's for monitoring of the moisture content through an IoT sensors, where already a few initiatives have already been done. And so it enables better water conservation, water usage, and the prevention of waterlogging and all that associated issues that come up with. So using this IoT sensors, water sensors, you can do better cropping pattern, and this is something which is already some of them have tried. And there's also some AI apps which have come up. What is it based on the data, the scientific data that's available? How do you do and when do you do sowing? Sowing is done based on the optimal dates. The advisories are all given on this AI app, and this is very much useful in some of the states as a pilot project has been done and showing tremendous results. And this is something which I'm sure the private sector has to come up on this. So the agriculture sector, not only the AI sowing app has come, but there is also, what is the best time to spray pesticides and based on the growth, based on the health of the crop. And this again done through the drones and other things. Already this has come up in some of the pilot projects. And using the satellite data for potential fishing zones for the fisheries, so that the fishermen can improve their livelihoods. This has already been tested in Odisha, and our fishermen in the state across the coastline are getting this live data from the satellites, the potential fishing zones, and they're using this to improve their living standards. So also in the other allied sectors, we are using this, and technology is being used, I would say, in a manner which is more pervasive in education, in health, and in midday meal, as my colleague was mentioning, and in monitoring of the midday meal program, monitoring of the attendance. Today, face recognition is used as a tool to enable more and more students to come. So you don't need to take attendance of every student to come. You have a face recognition tool, and you use it to map all the students who have come, and then accordingly monitor all your MIS that may be required for this. And similarly, we are also in the Anganwadi centers. All the AI along with the IoT, some states have already done this on a pilot basis, where they're able to weigh the student and then see the trend analysis of the child over a period of time, and do a better analysis of this. So this is also, private sector can come up in a big way. And of course, in the urban areas, the intelligent traffic management system, number plate recognition, face recognition, traffic management, lights, and those are which has now become more and more standard. It can be extended in a big way, and of course, the private sector has to come because it has to now percolate not only from the urban areas, it can also percolate to the rural areas also where there is traffic. And policing also today. We have all the video surveillance happening all over the place, where you can monitor the crowd management and why the crowd is there and what is the traffic patterns. Some of the big cities have already done this, and very successfully it has been done. And the AI ML is also useful for as a transparent taxation platform. How people can who are paying taxes across various services that they are supposed to pay. So how does it get synchronized? And this is something where this platform has been useful, and the citizens find it easy to pay their taxes that they are to pay. So the business processes which are repetitive in nature, which are rule-based, and which requires a different treatment by the organization, by which the productivity needs to be enhanced, efficiency has to be improved, and there has to be better utilization of manpower. It is these areas where the public-private partnership can come up in a big way, and it can make a huge difference. And
I think the infrastructure available in Odisha, supplemented by the good policy framework, makes Odisha one of the preferred investment destination. And also these days, Odisha is becoming a digitally empowered state. So taking this to our next speaker, next panelist, Ma'am Ranjana. There are two things that I would like to understand. We have almost exhausted the time for the panel discussion, but we will exceed it for 5-7 minutes. So, ma'am, under the one district, one product scheme, the government of Odisha has identified 30 different products for 30 districts. One is, how are you leveraging cutting edge technology backed solutions to take local products to the global market? And second, we talked a lot about startups. Venu sir also and Asit sir also talked about using emerging technologies, AI, ML, AR, VR, IoT, etc. How has been the growth of startups in niche sector in Odisha over the past couple of years, particularly during the pandemic times? Over to you.
So Arpit, as far as one district, one product is concerned, under that, in fact, in 30 districts, we have identified 16 products. And among those are products like dairy, fishery, mango, turmeric, etc., etc. Now, under that, there are two different ways why we are doing it. One is under the PMFME scheme. Under PMFME scheme, we are able to create common facility center, and the common facility center is done with a technical partner. And because of this technical partner's contribution, we are able to, right from the beginning, able to incubate and gestate small and micro units with the latest cutting edge technology. We have already set up one for fisheries in Ragailunda in Ganjam, and we are in the process of setting up one for dairy and one for food processing very soon. So one way of getting cutting edge technology into this sector is also through the help of the technical institutions who are partnering us under different government programs and schemes. The second the way in which we are strengthening this is by taking the help of NABARD. NAPCONS, in fact, has done a study for us, a very comprehensive study as to how a roadmap can be prepared for promoting these products in each of these districts. The report has just been shared with us. It's very exciting. We had a detailed discussion on fisheries, for example, in a district of Bhadrak, and we are finding that in case we were to pick up the recommendations of that report and get into partnership with certain good technical institutes and even government agriculture colleges, we would be able to build the capacity of our micro entrepreneurs who are at the grassroots at the villages and bring them to a level where they're able to produce high quality products which can be scalable and also will have a market not only within the state but outside the state. Now, coming to your second question regarding the startup, in the last 3 years we have been able to onboard about 1,231 startups, out of which I'm very happy to report that more than 320 startups as on date are revenue generating. More than 130 startups were able to access funds from outside, including venture capital financing. So this is a very happy situation for us. And in this process, what we are finding is that our startups, we are looking at creating certain niche sectors in which Orissa should be a very good playing field for these startups to incubate and ideate. And these are the sectors of fintech, these are the sectors of biotech, where they're able to marry cutting edge technology with the processes that are already in place. And you talked about COVID. We've had very interesting discussions with certain grassroots entrepreneurs, certain grassroots startups. Just to give you a small example, there is a startup which actually during COVID has been able to ideate and develop prototypes of more than 20 products which remove drudgery from the agriculture sector. They include small manual pump to weeder, etc. So all this lot of interesting work is going. One startup has been able to find a way by which they are going to extract maximum curcumin out of turmeric to make drinks which can be marketed for immunity boosting. So similarly, I think during COVID also we are finding that responding to the environment, to the demand that has been created among the population, many of our young startups have been able to leverage technology and bring up with products which have got a ready market. And in the coming days, we find we are supporting them with some kind of project development grant that we are doing it from the government side. And with this help, we are very hopeful that they would be able to scale their businesses and access markets outside the state as well.
Thank you for highlighting these excellent milestone created by the government of Odisha. Now I'll go to Mr. Sharma, last but not the least. Sir, as you are also heading skill development and technical education department in Odisha, how are you talked in your earlier comments about ease of doing business, single window clearances, and how government of Odisha is actually creating MS&ME ecosystem in the state? Sir, I would like to understand how, the efforts of government of Odisha in creating a holistic skill development ecosystem, as well as how it is transforming Odisha into a leading skill state. How are you leveraging technology in skill development, technical education in Odisha? Can you please highlight that?
A huge effort has been made by the state government over the last few years for transforming the skill ecosystem in Odisha across the 3 levels. Skills are provided, as all of us know, across 3 levels. The bottom of the pyramid is where the ITIs are there, where short-term and medium-term skilling is provided for the workforce, followed by the intermediate level, the diploma education polytechnics, and then the graduate and post-graduation level through colleges, engineering colleges, and universities. Across all these three verticals, the state government has enabled what is called a major transformation by infusing technology. So whether it is the modern laboratories in ITIs, the digitally, electronically connected laboratories and classrooms of polytechnics, and the centers of excellence on IT, OT, AI, AR, VR, and ML, which have been set up in most of our engineering colleges. A very conscious and concerted effort has been made by the state government to provide the most modern equipment in the laboratories, and the curriculum has also been designed in order to service the industry needs. We have set up an authority called the Orissa Skill Development Authority, which is now headed by Mr. Subrata Bagchi, and under his guidance, we have been taking proactive steps to tune our syllabi and our recruitment methods, our teaching and learning methods to serve the industry requirement. So that's an effort which has been made. The outcome is that today, amongst the top 100 ITIs in the country, 11 are from Orissa. And in the latest All India Trade Test, which was the results of which were announced by Government of India, amongst the top 20 candidates, 7 are from Odisha, and they are from ITIs located in places like Bhavanipatta and Kalahandi. All this outcome would not have been possible without the conscious effort in upgrading the infrastructure, in enabling technology infusion, both in training of trainers as well as in delivering the digital content of education. This has been made possible by this effort. Now today, Orissa accounts for as the single largest supplier of skilled workforce across country. Whether it is Chennai or Coimbatore or Bangalore or Hyderabad or Tirupur or Ludhiana or Greater Noida, the most skilled, the most disciplined, and the most productive workers are actually from the Orissa skilled ecosystem. And skilled in Orissa today is one of the coveted brands of our government. Now, this is not only, we have been discussing about deployment of digital technology, deployment of technology in governance. So this is not only governance, this is also big business. This is huge business opportunity for private entrepreneurs. Government, for that matter, our government particularly, is a big enabler of deploying technologies. We only give the problem statement. What is the problem that we are trying to solve through some technology solution? It's only the private entrepreneurs who come. So whether it is in our smart grid or our smart cities or our smart classrooms or our smart agriculture, it is huge business opportunity for the new age technology sectors in India. And we are very happy to see that today, most of the well-known technology companies of India and abroad, they have their presence in Orissa, and they are getting immense benefits out of the business opportunities which this digital technology-driven governance provides in Odisha.
Thank you. And before we wrap up, can we quickly have one line comment from each of you? What is the way forward for Odisha in digital transformation? Mr. Venu, over to you. One line quick comment.
I believe that for digital transformation to take place, we need to keep pace with the technological advancement that is happening on a rapid scale. And to take maximum benefit of the digital initiatives that are possible, and we should adopt the usage of next generation technologies. And to enable this to happen, the public-private partnership, the private sector has to come up in a big way. And state government is has a very investor-friendly, progressive policy, encouraging investment into the state, and also partnering with the state government in enabling better services to its citizens. And this is an opportunity for the private sector and also public-private partnership in all sectors, be it health, be it education, be it agriculture, industry, both social sector, infrastructure, as my colleagues were mentioning, any infrastructure for that matter, whether it's social infrastructure or physical infrastructure, everywhere, the private sector can play a very important role. And to enable this governance to move from better and better services to the citizens, adoption of the technology and involvement of the private sector, I think would be a key to providing better services to the citizens.
Thank you, sir. I'll go to Ranjana, ma'am. Ma'am, your quick comments.
The one single comment road ahead for us would be as to how can we bridge the digital divide and create structures by which we would provide better access to technology to all our citizens, whether they are in rural areas or in urban areas.
You raised a very important point of mitigating the challenges of digital divide. We'll discuss sometime later on this topic, but I'll go to Mr. Hemant Sharma, sir, your closing comments, quick remarks. What is the way forward?
I think the way forward is more technology deployment would mean more and more business opportunities.
Now I'll quickly go to Mr. Asit Tripathy for his closing remarks. Sir, what is the way forward for digital transformation in Odisha? And can you please highlight the government's efforts to digitally empower Odisha and to make it more resilient, competitive, and future ready? Over to you.
You know, we will continue our work. It is not that we have completed the e-governance. As I just mentioned to you, the social registry is under preparation. We have so many, initiatives in e-governance sector that we need to combine them. Departments can't be operating in silos. So therefore, we have started one effort of Orissa One, a single portal through which citizen-centric services can be delivered. Having said that, I would like to also invite the attention of the discussion towards IT and digital technology as a service sector which provides employment. So we are quite keen to exploit the potentials as far as employment of our youth is concerned. And to that effort, we have successfully created a lot of infrastructure. Not only infrastructure, but also the ecosystem. We would like our startups to not only start from here and prosper, but not eventually have to migrate to places like Bangalore or Hyderabad, because they have the better ecosystem there and the funding is there. So we are taking a lot of initiative in those directions. So that is something which is a high priority for us. Number 3 is that we have come out with a large number of, the new gen policies like EV policy, data center policy, then these green technology policies, in which we have committed at some stage. I would like my colleagues to mention you the details. The highest ever initiative bouquet to these sectors in the country. And we would like those sectors to also come to Orissa. Another area that is required parallelly to develop is skill set. So we have the engineering colleges and the IITs and IISER and all that. But the industry requires people who are already doing this work for some time, so that they have people who are trained, and so that creates the unique environment in Bangalore or Hyderabad to a certain extent, or Gurgaon and Noida to some extent. And obviously Bhubaneswar in the Eastern India has the best ecosystem so far. So we would like to be a national player. Our dreams are not just to be a regional player. We have India's entire large industry, IT industry's presence already here. We are beginning to get the international players. The Deloitte and the Capgemini are already knocking at our doors. So we would like the next 2, 3, 4 years to get the larger international players to come to Orissa and then provide a huge employment and continue with our good work. I mentioned about the new technologies like AI, machine learning, machine, then or IoT, for example. In our Bhubaneswar city, smart city administration in the control room, they use IoTs. We have a lot of traffic lights which are smart lighting. We have sensors and certain infrastructure which provide the maintenance status. Our asset management is today under a lot of IT platform. We use UAVs for certain law and order issues. So everything that is available and possible to be adopted inside the administration will be done. But we want to now move into the infrastructure, employment area, exploit IT to the fullest, and continue our good work in the digital e-governance area. Thank you so much for having me in the panel, and I wish this particular discussion eventually reach out to the widest possible audience through your efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing time and participating in the panel discussion.
Thank you so much.
With this, I conclude today's panel discussion, Digital Transformation in Odisha, Next Gen Technologies Transforming Governance, part of Transforming Odisha 2020 Conclave. On behalf of ETGovernment, the Economic Times, I sincerely thank our guest panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, esteemed panelists, for sharing your perspective and precious piece of information with us today. Now we'll move to the next session for more updates. Stay tuned, everyone.